Welcome to another My Outlander Purgatory recap. This week, we continue our Season 5 coverage with a recap of Episode 510, Mercy Shall Follow Me. Ready? Then pour yourself a wee dram, settle in, and let's do this. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Carol.
And we are My
Outlander
Purgatory.
You have to incorporate some fake applause in there.
Clearly you haven't watched all season or last season because I do. Yeah, I started doing that last season at some point. But, you know.
How have I not noticed that?
I don't know.
All right, look, I'm already touching. Don't let me touch the hair.
I'm trying not to touch the hair. I'm in a new location tonight because my husband is working upstairs in the office room. Tonight is the football draft, so he has to cover, whoever the Giants draft. And I don't remember what pick they have. I bet it's probably pretty high up because I don't think they're very good this year. How are you today?
I'm shitty AF. How are you?
I'm pretty shitty too.
Shall we tell everyone why we're shitty?
Yes. So it's 9:00 on Thursday.
It's 9:00 on a Thursday. I'm supposed to be on a frickin' plane.
Oh, yes.
My hair looks like Sister Christian.
And I've had so many margaritas, I don't know my name. Now, right now, you guys, we would be in the air. We would be over the Atlantic. We'd be settling in for probably maybe the drink carts would be coming down the aisle, and we'd be settling back with our first glass of wine.
But it would first.
Well, no, we would have had a few at the restaurant at the airport.
I would have been winding down by
Yes, it's the delicate balance of like the front loading the alcohol, and then the melatonin, and then eating really quick, and then sleeping, and then waking up like an hour before you're gonna land and starting the caffeine infusion. It's a very delicate balance. No, today was the day.
Melatonin, go straight to the trazodone.
We would, in a different world, at a different time, if we weren't in the time of a coronavirus, we would be on our way to Scotland right now, at this very minute. So, Carol and I are, little down tonight. That's why we're not drinking our usual drinks. We're, livening things up.
Can we make t-shirts that say, blame Wuhan?
I'm going with the skinny girl margarita because I didn't have time to make real margaritas. I really did want to, in fact, tell them what you're drinking for 2 seconds, Carol.
You guys, first time in ever, I'm not drinking Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio. I am drinking a margarita that I made myself with this. I really don't know my tequilas, which is awful because I love tequila. So I have a little triple sec, and I have some lime in here and some salt. And are you ready for tonight's secret ingredient? During coronavirus, during coronapocalypse, when you don't have any Sprite or something like tonic or not tonic, seltzer to spritz it up a little bit, you find yourself using whatever you have on hand, which is my son's Mountain Dew.
But Mountain Dew seems like it would be really good for margaritas because it's got that lemon lime feeling to it.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
Wired like a mofo, but here you go, you guys. Here is my margarita. And tonight, this is my second. So this one has a lot less tequila and a lot more, believe it or not, I stuck some water in there too. Because I can't be, come on now.
Yeah. This
Like last week, I can't be like last week when I was way all over the place and couldn't watch it.
Last week was pretty funny. I had some red wine at dinner, so this is my second and a half drink. No, I just ran to get. If things get really crazy here tonight, you guys, and they just might, we might have the experimental drink of this, both for its significance because this was on the itinerary.
Yeah.
To go here.
God.
Also, because you guys know I don't really like whiskey, but in fact, I'm even gonna open this up right now.
Oh, I should go get.
It smells kind of good, you guys.
Yeah, hi, it's whiskey, duh. Tracy, we are going to school you. Well, we're going to school me too.
It might have to be its own video, but this smells really good. Ain't gonna lie.
Let me tell you guys.
It smells really good.
Let me tell you how rough it is when you don't have your husband to ask, because Tom was my go-to on whiskey, and he would be like, "Oh, don't drink that."
He was really good at it, yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. And the greatest whiskey I ever had was Oban. There was some limited edition, blah, blah, blah. And I have to be honest with you, I'm going to set it straight right now. And some people are going to bomb, but here I am. I like a blend because it's easier on me throat. But also, I have to say it, I would add a little water, and I hated doing that, but...
Well, no, if you're not coming out of the womb drinking whiskey, that's how you learn to like it. You know how it's like with wine. You start with
I know, but if you've
White
seen
Zinfandel or something really sweet and disgusting, and you eventually get to the point where you're drinking a nice, dry Sauvignon Blanc or something like that.
True. If you ever saw The Quiet Man, you guys, how many of you want Tracy to see The Quiet Man now that it's Coronapocalypse?
I will watch.
Hello. It's 2 hours out of life.
Can I? Okay, I will watch this.
And Micheline in The Quiet Man would say, and Tom used to quote, "When I drink whiskey, I drink whiskey. And when I drink water, I drink water." But I'm sorry. I just, I don't know. I just did, like you said, I didn't come out of the womb drinking whiskey. So but I do love it. So you guys, what's going on? How's everyone this week? It's so much different from last week. Not.
It's
what
just
you doing?
More depressing this week than it was last week.
Yeah.
Honestly, and you know what? The worst thing is, and I shouldn't complain because I know, a lot of you in, Colorado and whatnot have had, 6 inches of snow, which is, just unacceptable. But it's just really cold here. It's I don't even think it broke 50 degrees today. It was cloudy. It's just, there's no, really nice, 65-degree spring day yet.
What the frick is going on with the weather?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. It's April. What's the date today? The 22nd? 23rd?
No, I'm sorry. We're, locked in our houses. The least whoever controls all of this could do is make it, at least tolerable to sit in my backyard without, needing a winter coat on.
The least the Cassidines could do is give us some warm weather, you guys.
Yeah, no, we're at the end of April almost, and I don't know. It's I think we're all trying to make the best of it. All right. Should we get into it? Carol and I have not talked about this episode at all, except for me to text her last night, have you watched it yet? And you just watched it.
Yeah, you guys, it only took me 5 seasons to realize, I don't have to watch the day before we make the video. I can watch right before we make the video.
Well, it's good to watch the day before because if I have some emergency and can't watch the second time to take notes, then you can watch the second time to take notes. Although you tend to take notes the first time anyway.
But I knew this week that you watched. So all I have to say is I came away saying, what just happened? I came away from this episode and I was like,
was this an episode this is an episode you probably should have watched again.
You dirty bird. You know that some of you thought about that. Kathy Bates when he's in there and she's like, "Oh God, I have to make him happy," and he's like,
Oh, you know, it's funny.
"How to hold a fork."
I thought of a lot of movies, but that was not one of them. And I will tell you all the different movie tie-ins that there were, because there were a million, trillion, billion movie tie-ins, because that whole section was from like every movie ever or TV show ever or story ever of like, psycho person who's kidnapped somebody and the kidnapped person has to pretend to go along with whatever the psycho is saying.
Hashtag Kathy Bates.
Hashtag Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hashtag Little House on the Prairie, which I will get to. Like every other plot of Little House on the Prairie. What?
Talking about? What movie am I talking about? What's it called again?
Misery.
You dirty bird.
See, I don't know that I'm getting the Misery tie-in.
You dirty bird. Get your elbows off the table.
Other than Stephen Bonnet being a psycho, I'm not getting the Misery tie-in because, like, it's not like he's a fan of hers. Like, I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, come on. She's got him kidnapped. I'm trying to keep him happy.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess I can see it. So what did you think of this episode? Are we hinting at what you thought of this episode?
I thought it was weird. Whoa. I thought it was weird and just disjointed.
Okay, so I can go full
Full throttle, baby. Full throttle.
Monty. Full Monty on this episode. This episode was just... Let me put it this way, you guys. And I will preface this with saying that I liked it slightly better on the second watch.
Uh-huh.
And there were definitely things I noticed on the second watch that I hadn't noticed on the first that made me like, okay, grudgingly so. But still, 22 minutes into my first viewing, I was like, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch the rest of this. And how are we going to do the recap? Because this is like, I can't with this.
Oh, when he was with the prostitute?
No, this was when they were at the dinner table.
And she was telling him, Auntie Mabel, Bonnie, get your elbows off the table.
I was like, and that's, I think, when I texted you, like, have you watched this yet? I was like, I don't think I can go on with this. I don't think I can. This is above my pay grade. Like, I can't with this. I can't with this.
What?
With Stephen Bonnet and the ridiculousness of it.
I think they played upon the ridiculousness of it.
Okay. Shall we just jump in and see where the narrative takes us?
I feel like it's going to take us 5 minutes to discuss this episode.
Oh, no. I have a lot to say about this episode.
There were a couple times that I was like, shh, very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
This is not going to go down as my favorite episode of the season.
No.
If we're saying that right now, I'm thinking that you're probably thinking the same thing.
Yes, but I didn't hate it because I thought the ludicrousy is not a word, but
I know what you mean. But I like Stephen Bonnet as a character. I will say this: I think Stephen Bonnet is a fascinating. No, I think Stephen Bonnet is a fascinating character. Okay, yes. In the books, and I think Ed Speleers. Is that how you say his name? Speleers. Speleers. Well, it is now. It's Speleers now.
Wait, did he?
I don't know. I think season 4, he was so brilliant in that character because he made that character. I mean, that character is a masochist, right? He's just, or I'm sorry, not a masochist, a sadist. He's just.
Is he the one from Downton?
Yes. But yes, and wasn't that dinner table scene even funnier when he's like passing the food to Brianna and it's like, oh, or he's like, we'll have lots of servants at River Run when we live there, and I was like, oh, like Jimmy?
Yeah, but wait, but he's not the one on Poldark.
No. Oh my God. No. 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 No.
That's
No.
the third time I'm stupid, you guys.
No.
I'm gonna
No.
keep count of
No.
how many times I'm stupid.
We have put that to bed. That the whole like Stephen Bonnet is the blind guy on Poldark now.
I really did think that for a long time, but he's not. But no, it's not that we put it to bed and I'm bringing it up again. It's that I forget. I'm like, wait, he's the one on Downton, but not Poldark.
What if I were to put a drop of Glenfiddich in here? Would it be good?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Number one, no, and number two, God, it just hit me that Poldark's never coming.
How long will you be gone?
2 days. Depends on the weather.
Oh my God, there's no reason to go on. We're not going to Scotland, and we're never going to see Poldark again.
What was the song? What was the music?
I don't know.
Ran this way, that way, this way. We had a lot of running this way and that way tonight.
Oh my God, we had running all over this. Wait, I wasn't finished my point, which was Ed Speliers brought so much to that character, who was already a fascinating character from the books, brought so much to that character last season that, like, he was abhorrent, okay? And yet, I loved him. He made an abhorrent character likable, okay? But for whatever reason this season, they decided to just make him a full-on psycho. And there's been, like, hints of it here and there. You know, he, like, blinded that guy, which I think does happen in the book. But he just was kind of, like, you know, just became this, like, kind of mustache-twirly psycho boy. And it was full on in this episode, and it made me just incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. Rather than, like, a really, like, nuanced, multi-level, interesting performance and character, we got,
he was
like,
a mustache twirling psycho boy.
He was a mustache twirling psycho boy. And it made me
you ever said.
that combined with I should be in Scotland right now and I don't like this and I should is just making me incredibly sad. So there you go.
We should be loaded on a plane right now, and instead I'm loaded in my kitchen. You guys, it hasn't hit me. Every single day, something I think about, and I go, oh, I'll do that in Scotland, or oh, I'll keep that for Scotland. I can't.
All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this because there's a lot to say. All right,
hurry up with the writers and with everybody. Let's get in.
Mercy shall follow me.
Tony Garcia.
The writer is Megan Farrell-Brooke. I don't blame you, Megan Farrell-Brooke, because this all happens in the writer's room. It's not one person's fault. I'm of the mindset that, like, one writer doesn't take the credit and one writer doesn't take the blame. This is don't
let the highs get you too high or the lows get you too
low. Annie Griffin is your director. Easter egg is a cobbler adding a heel to a shoe. We find out later that there are a number of meanings for that, although, what's her name, the whore, is probably the most obvious, but then there's also Forbes. All of it. Oh, God, it's so, Lord.
What do they have to do with a cobbler and a shoe?
We find out later that that's how Claire gets information from the whore, by being like, I see you have a medical problem and I can solve it if you give me information.
I feel bad because I doubted Claire. Because I was like, oh my God, your daughter is kidnapped with that psycho and you're helping someone? But there was a method to her madness.
Yes, there was a method to her madness. Okay. They're in Wilmington and we see Bonnet and Forbes in a tavern, possibly a whorehouse, but we're not quite sure yet. But all the women look pretty hoary. So they keep dancing around about Bonnet's new, like, job or what he's doing. He's trading commodities of a female nature. And I'm like, does that mean he's kind of, like, operating a little whorehouse service on the side? Is he like, like trading, like the slave trade? Like, I'm not sure what that means really, but Bonnet is all in on, like, he needs to get his son back. So he wants Forbes to consult with the magistrate because they need to have custody of Jeremiah granted. And Forbes is like, it's not going to be a problem. I have witnesses. It's all good. Yeah, whatever. So then Forbes is like, okay, the matter of my compensation. And so Bonnet is all like, oh yeah, well, once I have Jeremiah, I can see a sad, tragic accident in Jocasta's future and Duncan Innes too, whatever. And then you'll get your 20% once that happens, once he's the proud owner of Riverrun. So you can kind of see where he's going there. Like, he really wants Jeremiah, he wants Jemmy to, like, to get some money, basically.
I have a question.
What?
How was he going to get Jemmy once he sold Bree off to that guy?
Well, I have another question. Because I didn't think he saw at that point that he was going to be selling Bree off to that guy. But, like, okay. So the minute that he does get Jeremiah, isn't Jocasta going to be like, ring ring, figuratively, Forbes, or whoever her lawyer at the moment is, like, I need to change my will, toot sweet. Because Jeremiah ain't getting this money no more. Like, wouldn't that be happening in, like, 2 seconds? In fact, wouldn't she do a will?
And how did Forbes get in bed with Bonnet?
I don't know. They really don't talk about that too much. I don't know. Forbes is just kind of slimy, I guess, from day one.
I just feel like Jocasta would not be that dumb to get involved with someone like Forbes.
I think
Jocasta
that Forbes
seems like everybody who's around her is 1,000% loyal to her.
Well, but I think that Forbes was loyal to her until he tried to, propose to her, and she's like, yeah, no. And then he was like, oh, well, I'll show you. And then Stephen Bonnet sort of appeared, and Forbes, and I'm sure Bonnet, like, had a lot of money or prestige or whatever to offer. And so Forbes,
and all I have to tell you guys is that my old pharmacist, I don't mean old, I just mean who he's ex, because he's no longer there. He retired. I love him to pieces.
Your former.
My former pharmacist, who is in his 70s with grandchildren, texted me to wish me a happy Easter and sent me pictures of his grandchildren, and then texted me the next day and told me he didn't want to overstep his bounds, wanted to know if I was dating yet, because he had a friend. And his friend is 80. But I should have said, does he live in Spring Lake? and does he have any underlying condition?
Well, there is such a thing as companionship,
all right, so
Carol.
keep going.
He probably would take you out to a nice restaurant.
Keep going.
Good wine, I bet.
Well, he better have ED, is all I have to say.
Okay. Okay, so Forbes is going to go talk to Jocasta tomorrow anyway. Jocasta has summoned him, and there you go. Okay. So there's another tavern somewhere in Wilmington, and inside it are Jamie, Claire, Bree, and Roger. And they're getting ready for the big meeting with Philip Wiley. Philip Wiley has set up this meeting with Stephen Bonnet, and Stephen Bonnet is going to be meeting
I love him.
Alexander Malcolm.
I love him. I love Philip Wiley. I can't not love him. I love him.
He doesn't show up till the very end.
I love him so much that I pulled up the actor who is hot. Oh my God. I love him so much. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I love Philip Wiley. Loved him in the books. I love him now.
I didn't know that. This is a surprise to me.
Yeah. You're not supposed to love him, but I do.
But you didn't You didn't profess your love in the Jocasta wedding episode, and that was...
Well, I didn't love him like that, but the thing is that he's just such a great character that you're just like, oh my God, this guy brings all kinds of flowers and sunshine and rainbows to every episode he's in because it's different than what you're used to.
Yeah, all right, I get it. I'm not as big a fan, but you know, you do you. You do you. Um, okay, where are we? Okay, so they're talking about, they have the big meeting, and then into the tavern walks Ian, who is dressed in his finest. How'd that make you feel?
I love him.
It made me feel like
so much. I'm so happy he's back.
I'm so happy he's back.
Tell you.
Like, did you ever read Tarzan?
No.
I don't even know what it's called. I don't even know what it's called, but like the first part of it, and he's raised with the apes and whatever, and then eventually he has to go back to the humans.
I'm listening. I have these.
And he has to like wear the human clothes and live the humans' ways, and it's just really hard. And so when Ian walked in dressed in all that finery, it just made my heart hurt for him, because I was like, really. Ugh. Like, this is like...
Come on. Does your heart hurt when you're on stage playing a role? He was just playing a role.
Yeah, well, what I kept questioning... Okay, so what were the plans? If Ian hadn't come back, what were the plans? Jamie's all like, yeah, I'm just going to meet with Alexander Mancall. Who was going to be playing that part? Who was going to be playing that part before? Lord John?
Fergus
with the French accent? Being Scottish, Alexander Malcolm? That Fergus?
Frankly, I was like, where is Fergus?
Maybe they would have gotten Isaiah Morton, or...
Come on, you know as well as I do that Fergus and Jamie were such a tag team. Fergus should be there, but he's home taking care of the new babe. The new baby. He's taking care of the new baby.
It made me, because I feel like Ian probably had these clothes on and they felt so uncomfortable to him, and so he felt so weird in them, and my heart hurt for him.
Okay, I don't want to do this. Well, no, I want to do this, but I don't want to be rude. But it was one day. He's going to be right back tomorrow in his loincloth and his dot, getting that bow and arrow and catching some dinner.
I have to say, I was really, really, well, we'll get to this, but I was really sad that we didn't get some kick-ass, what's Ian... I mean, and again, like, oh yeah, he knows how to use a rifle, but what I really wanted when they were rescuing Brianna was, like, some kick-ass, like, mohawk, axe, hatchet action from Ian. Because he could do it. He could, because Ian came back from the mohawk knowing how to do all, like, fighting like the mohawk. And so, every once in a while in the books, he'll just pull out some mohawk shit that's just really...
And go... Yeah, right?
And
that's why I love
it. So he'd take out a guy with a bow and an arrow, or he'd throw the hatchet and whatever. And I will say and maybe we'll do a spoiler alert later. There's one really great moment from the books that we miss in the way that stuff was presented. That is classic. What I'm talking about. That is classic. Like, oh my God, this is not the same Ian that we said goodbye to when we left him at the Mohawk at all.
and this was not the same bonnet adventure that we had in the books either.
I don't
remember what it was, but I remember.
Oh no! Oh, we'll get to that. I've spent all last night rereading parts of Fiery Cross and A Breath of Snow and Ashes, where this is all.
Wasn't there sort of? Was it Roger was out there with Bonnet?
Well, that was when they were crossing. That was when they did the Atlantic crossing last season.
Who was with Bonnet in the scenes in the dunes? And there was a little house, and there was a ship out there, and
yeah, that was Brianna. This was Brianna, yeah.
One of the guys was with him.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, there were other people too. No, there was a slave from Jocasta's house that ended up there for some reason. A couple of I remember Phaedra from Phaedra hasn't been on it this season, but she ends up there.
Phaedra, I miss her.
Whatever. I don't think it's that big a spoiler, but okay. All right, let's keep going. So Ian's all feeling really weird, and he's in his finery, and he's like, okay, what are we doing with these? And Clara's like, I have a totally great foundation. I will fix it for you. She knows exactly what to do. She's like, I've just been using this new Bobbi Brown makeup, and it's really good.
I'm gonna call my Avon lady.
Yes, I have some killer foundation, and it'll knock that right out. So if they don't return in 2 days, the women are to go back to the ridge. And Claire's like, yeah, do you even know who you're talking to, Jamie?
Yeah, have you met
dumbass?
me?
Have you met me? And Jamie's like, yeah, right. You're good. Okay. So Claire and Bree are running some errands, and they go to the glass guy. I liked the glass guy. The glass guy was fun.
He was so sweet.
That was a nice little scene.
Bryce, I'll make you whatever you want.
He was very nice. And then they're like, well, I hope the needle guy is that nice, because that's a really weird request. And so they are spotted by one Stephen Bonnet. All right, so we get to the Wiley Landing, and they're thinking about is he going to come alone? And Jamie's like, and they're like, yeah, he's going to bring his sailors with them. And I think they talked a little bit about what the sailors are like, and Roger's like, yeah, no, they work for him, but they're not beholden to him, because he he rules by he rules an iron fist. And they're afraid of him. It's not like they like him or whatever. They're not
right.
Beholden to him, whatever. So now Claire and Bree have made their way to the beach, and they're looking for shells and other stuff, medicinal stuff, whatever. And they go this way and that way.
I have something to say.
But
continue. I mean, it's going to be about Claire and Bree on the beach, so don't go past that.
Okay. So back at the Wiley Landing, and Roger's like, I'm going to take Bonnet out. And Jamie's like, you sure about that? And Roger's like, you're her father, but I'm her husband. She's my wife, and I'm going to do it. And
okay. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Don't leave Wiley Landing, because I got to say something about that, too.
Well, no. Jamie's like, if you fall, Roger Mack, I know that I will avenge you. So, it was a nice little scene with Jamie and Roger. They're I think all the history with them is water under the bridge, and I think they have forged a bond, and I like it. I thought it was a very, very lovely little scene between the two of them. Do you have something to say?
Yeah. When they were walking around Wiley Landing, I was seeing the buildings. I was seeing the trim around the windows. I love that little set. It's just so cute. I do have to say that at one point I was like, poor Claire is getting her dress all dirty. This was before she was at the beach, when she was walking around with Jamie. But it hit me that, how lucky we are, because in this sense, there's so many people in the country who are Outlander fans who don't, we get to, it was reminding me of New Hope. I don't know why New Hope and not, I don't know, somewhere that we, closer to Valley Forge or closer to Paoli. But that little set that they have with the houses and the salt, there's either a salt box or there's a colonial with a trim around the windows. And are you with me? Mm-hmm. It just hit me that wow, there are people in this country who don't get to see that. You know what I mean? We take it for granted. We go to New Hope. We go to, even if we go up to Massachusetts and go to Salem or something, we get to see these old houses like that.
You mean if you live in New Mexico and you have more of the Spanish style houses, or
yeah,
or you live in the West where it's much newer.
Wouldn't I love to see the architecture in New Mexico? But in this instance, outlanderly speaking, I was like, wow, you know what? I don't know. It was me being positive. I was like, wow, we get to see this the way the set looks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's certain areas in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York that we go to. Tracy and I, like one time a couple of years ago, we posted kind of drunk. Tracy couldn't find a refrigerator for her chicken. When we went to that place, that old restaurant in New York City. It's like the oldest restaurant from the 18th century. So I just thought to myself, wow, like this, first I thought, wow, the set is so cute. And then I was like, we could go to like New Hope or one of these little towns and walk around that in like 5 seconds. Well, after Corona Apocalypse. But other people can't. So we should count our blessings because it's really, really cool. And then I started thinking, maybe, I don't know, maybe at some point, not only does Mop have to go to Scotland, but Mop has to go to the East Coast.
Well, we have talked about that forever. To do some sort of a Valley Forge, like, get together, or, I don't know. Maybe some point when Diana finishes book 9. Did you hear Diana broke her shoulder?
What?
Yeah. I don't know. She had some like minor accident and broke her shoulder. That's
what happened.
I have no idea. I didn't. And I
she had to go to the hospital.
I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing yes.
You okay?
As far as I know, I think she tweeted it very like briefly. She just can't type very well. She said.
Oh God, I hope.
But I don't know what they do. Like, did Dad break his shoulder once, or his collarbone?
Collarbone playing softball. For like a work function.
Yes, I remember
I just found those pictures the other day. That's funny. All right, continue.
So Claire and Bree are on the beach and they see all these whales and they're like, wow, and it really is like a beautiful sight. And then
that's what I wanted to talk about.
What? The whales? Watch the whales?
We don't have this in our time. Things are so different in our time. We've taken away from, what did she say about like back then? We've stripped away. I'm like, really? Because I remember Tom being out on his boat, little 19-footer, used. I don't want to make it sound like, out on the boat. Tom was out on the boat in front of the Essex and Sussex, where Essex and Sussex, if anybody is a Jaws fan, where the original Jaws story back in 1916, where the guy got in Spring Lake, New Jersey, where the guy was a bellhop at this hotel, and he got bitten, and they carried him up to the hotel. Well, Tom was fishing with John out off right in front of the Essex and Sussex, and all of a sudden these huge whales, and they're like, oh my God, it's so cool. And then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, we're in a 19-foot boat.
In other words, they were going to need a bigger boat. I mean, I don't think there's... What?
And I'm thinking, what does she mean in our time? Like, you don't see, like, whales.
Well, you don't. I mean, I've never seen that. I've never seen a school of whales, like...
So come to the shore.
I've seen dolphins. I've seen schools of dolphins like that. But, like, big-ass, you know...
Yeah.
Blue... Whatever kind of, like...
Yeah.
Like, great... Like...
Yeah, that wasn't a blue whale. But come to the Jersey Shore and get your ass out on a boat, and you're going to see some whales.
Well, you see them in Cape Cod too. That's why you have whale watching.
God, Cape Cod.
Good God, Cape Cod. Good God, Cape Cod. So then Bree and Claire talk about their shared love of Moby Dick. Carol, have you ever read Moby Dick?
No, but Bree's memorized it. I mean, yes. yes, I have read Moby Dick, I meant to say, but Bree is memorized.
Oh, you really have read Moby Dick?
For school. Was it Moby Dick or The Old Man in the Sea?
Was the first line, call me Ishmael?
The first line was, Stephen Bonnet, you just sit right there. And I'll tell a tale. And I've memorized the entire Moby Dick book.
Okay.
What the frick was that?
I will say that I have never read Moby Dick. Although I do know that the first line is Call Me Ishmael because it's possibly the most popular, well-known first line of any piece of literature in the English language. And by the by, it was not the first line of Bree's summary of Moby Dick, which was a summary because Moby Dick is told in the first person. So it was not the actual Moby Dick. She was giving a very detailed and thorough summary of it.
Yeah. Bree was like, then it went how sweet. And I wish he would have called her out on that once, the cat was out of the bag and he was just selling her and just stalling until
and you just made that story up too, huh? It's not really a Moby Dick story.
I wish he was like, and by the way.
But like, tell us in the comments, have you ever read Moby Dick? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not well read. But like, honestly, these two women from 1960s-ish, like, would they really have A, read Moby Dick, and B, love Moby Dick?
Claire would have. This is why Claire never learned to light the stove. Because she was too busy with Moby Dick. She was like this. I can't get this thing.
I don't think of Claire as a particular voracious reader, quite frankly. I would say Bree is probably the more... I mean, Frank would have totally read Moby Dick and could probably, like, you know...
Maybe Claire read it with, like, Uncle Lamb back in the day, like, when she was stuck doing whatever and was, like, so bored that she was like, I'm going to read Moby Dick.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I just found it very... Remember how last week, one thing I didn't like was, with the whole silent movie thing, or the week before, or whatever it was, the whole silent movie thing, I kind of felt like that Roger and Bree were like, okay, Bree, ready for that silent movie festival? Sure am, Raj. Like, it felt very contrived to me, because I was just like, since when are they, like, big silent movie fans? You know? Okay, I mean, I guess. And it felt like the same way to me, that they needed to, and it was like, you know, I will say, I did not like the Moby Dick, metaphor either. I thought it was actually kind of interesting, but, like, to have Claire and Bree be like, we love Moby Dick, that's our favorite book. Well, they didn't say it was their favorite, but, like, it was just such an odd choice, and it just came off to me as really contrived and really like, oh, you know, signal, Moby Dick's going to be really important later in the episode, because, like, what two women from the 70s would, like, be all jonesing over Moby Dick? You know? And I read a lot when I was a kid. And I will say that, you know, I mean, this is probably pretty sexist, but I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. You know, I read girl books. I read Little Women, and I read Nancy Drew, and I read, you know, I did read Tom Sawyer. And
why is that sexist?
It was a drudgery to me. I really didn't like Tom Sawyer, you know, and I didn't even try Huck Finn because it was like a boys' book, you know. I don't know. I mean, like, it just... But that said, I'm sure there are plenty of people. They just don't strike me as the Moby Dick audience. So it was a little contrived to me, and I don't want to, like, belabor the point, whatever. But it was just.
Oh, we already did that like 5 minutes ago.
All right. So Bree's like, I'm gonna dip my toes in the water, and Claire's gonna go off and look for more shells. So Wiley's landing. They're here. There are 3 guys. None of their names are Bonnet. So Ian's like, what's up with that? So, yes, Bonnet is not coming. He sent his lackey. And the lackey's like, where are the goods?
Main lackey dude. Second lackey dude from the left. And third lackey dude from the left.
And Ian's like, they're in the shed. And I was like, good, Ian.
Yeah,
smart,
good answer.
Very smart. Good answer.
Now, I was wondering, is Ian really nervous? Or is he just acting?
No, I think he's pretty nervous. I don't think this is a situation anybody would want to be in. He's probably not armed.
I thought and they're pretty
Ian pretty burly.
I was like, is Ian truly nervous, or is Ian like, oh no?
No, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is the best situation for Ian right now. But also, you know, because he knows that A, he's got to come up with there's no barrels over there, and B, he's got to come up with a story, and C, he knows he has reinforcements in there, so that's why he's like, they're in there, yeah. But D, he
Jane's
has to like
never
sort of
afraid of anything.
hope that they were paying attention and telepath to Jamie and Roger, like, I'm sending these guys in, beat their asses, you know? Which they do. Not coincidentally.
I kind of felt like Jamie would have seen that coming a mile away.
Well, I think they could hear what was going on. So
No.
What, that Bonnet wouldn't show up?
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I get it. It's Bonnet and like he wants to outsmart, but I was like, no one outsmarts Jamie Fraser. Like Jamie would have said, all right, now he might send people ahead and not come with them. Like, what are we going to, at least that would have been a possibility. Like, what are we going to do? What do we do if other dudes show up and Bonnet's not with them?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I didn't really think about it, but maybe.
Tracy, are your loyalties to Jamie Fraser wavering?
No, I just don't. If you have a meeting scheduled with Bonnet and you're trusting Philip Wiley to have it set up, you know, why wouldn't he show up? If you're like offering him a decent, you know, proposition, why not?
But he didn't show up, did he?
No, he didn't, but they didn't expect that.
I think that Jamie would have seen all possibilities, and that would have been one of them.
Well, what would he do? Like in that. Okay, so what would the answer be?
He would have had some kind of plan if Bonnet's not here. Blah blah blah.
Well, what would the plan be?
I don't know. I'm not Jamie Fraser. God. Say that like Napoleon Dynamite. God.
All right. So anyway, Ian made the right choice. They go in, Jamie and Roger and Ian fight them off. Roger is holding his own, but he's got his knife and he's like, and Jamie's kind of watching him, and it's a pretty funny scene. And
I know, I loved it. Jamie's like, no, let him go. Jamie
is like, whatever. And then it finally starts to get a little dicey, and then Jamie just clocks the guy with his gun. And Jamie's like, you were doing all right. And Roger was like, it took you long enough, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Roger's learning what it's like in this world, in this time, what life is like when you're not in the future. So Claire's all over the beach, and she's looking for shells. She finds one, and she looks up, and there he is. It's Bonnet.
Yeah, that was creepy. I loved it, though. I loved the creepy factor of this episode.
Yes.
It's like a horror movie.
The creepiness, at this point, Bonnet was, like, okay. Like, he was still, like, acceptably, like, normally creepy, but still likable. Like, you know, when he's talking about, like, hearing the ocean in a shell and whatever. And then when he's like, how's my son? And Claire's like, yeah. So Bree comes up, and Bonnet gets the knife at Claire. Bree has a gun, but it's not loaded, and Bonnet knocks them both out. And it's my son.
Would you say that in the books, Bonnet is a bit of an anti-hero?
Yes, I would absolutely say that.
Because I feel bad for the viewers who haven't read, and not faulting, not judging, not faulting. They're not getting, like Bonnet.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
Those of you who have not read the books, you're the ones I'm talking to when I say, you guys, there's turmoil when you're reading these books, because you're like, I hate it, but I think I like Bonnet. And it's awesome. It's very thought-provoking, and it's very, like, knowing what he did to Bree, and you're sort of beating yourself up mentally. You're like, how could I possibly like this guy? But you do. He's not nearly I would say, like, the psychopath in the books that he is in the show. Like, he's
100% correct. 100% correct.
He's in the books. He's bad. I mean, he's like he's just a shyster who will, do anything to save his own ass, and did something horrific to Bree. But other than the horrific to Bree,
he's very matter of fact. I want to see if I can wait.
He's more. And while you're doing that, let me talk. He's more in the show of like a complete and utter sociopath that you don't know what he's going to do from one minute to the next. And I'm not going to say that it isn't enjoyable, because it is, because I'm guessing they did that because it's TV, because it's film, it's screen. So it's different than reading the books. But in the books, Bonnet is this guy who's just a shyster. He's always going to like cheat. He's always going to, get the best of people, but he's not a complete and utter sociopath. He's just a pig. And what he did to Bree was unthinkable and unforgivable. But again, it was the 18th century when it was done a lot more than we'd like to remember or admit. So it wasn't okay then, isn't okay now. But it was just different. It was like not accepted, but I can't even explain it. But back then, so you hated what Bonnet did to me. Hated that Bonnet was a shyster and what he did to Claire with the rings. Didn't absolutely loathe him, and you weren't afraid of him and his every done.
I will say that I'm in book 4 now. And I will refer to that later. But yeah, he's telling a story that's a really devastating. He's telling the story about later on in the story. In the show, he spends 2 seconds telling a story about being buried by people by construction workers that he was working with or something.
Don't get me started.
Well, that's a big story that's told in a completely different context, and I'll get to that and complaining about it. But it's told in Drums of Autumn when he's on the ship on the Atlantic crossing with Roger. He tells Roger the story for a very specific reason. But in the book it just says, "They rolled me on my face and hit me," Bonnet continued matter-of-factly. And that is the essence of Bonnet. Bonnet has done shit. He's seen shit. He's experienced shit. And he's just like, this is the way the world is. And he's very matter-of-fact about it. He's the kind of guy, all of this, my son, my son. I wanted to vomit in this glass every time he would say, my son, my son.
He had freaking sons all over the place.
Boom! Boom! I was just going to say, Stephen Bonnet is the guy who has, 10,000 kids by 10,000 moms and pays, some child support, whatever, to, support all of them.
No, he doesn't pay
No. He's the guy.
He
feels a responsibility. No,
here,
wait.
He goes like this. You take this.
Yeah,
here,
he feels a responsibility. He knows he owns up to what he did, or what his actions, and he's like, here you go, bag of money. Here you go, whatever. Here you go. But and then he pays it off.
And don't get that kid in my face. Take that kid away.
Exactly.
I don't want anything to do with that kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. So that's, and again, I know the show is the show and the book is the book. But you guys have to understand why this is so hard for us to see Stephen Bonnet. And it's not, the word is not emasculated. It's not at all that, but there's another word that just sniveling, groveling, it was really hard to watch some of this for me because Stephen Bonnet is not that guy. I mean, maybe he is in the show.
No, they changed him for the show.
And they changed him for season 5 because again, look at season 4. Season 4, Ed Lears and the writing of Stephen Bonnet was perfection. That's exactly who that guy was. That guy was a likable, horrible guy. Okay? Mm-hmm. This guy in season 5, I don't know, who's this guy and what did you do with Stephen Bonnet? That's what I have to say about him. Because, yeah. So, all of this talk of my son, Stephen Bonnet could give a shit about his son. Stephen Bonnet's I knocked you up. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's 10 pounds. Bye.
Excuse me. I would have rather seen book Stephen Bonnet. Because I would have rather seen Sophie, which she was so amazing in this episode.
She was very good in this episode, yes.
There have been times before when people are like, oh my God, this is the one that I was riveted. Never once was I taken out of the scene in this episode. She was so good. I also loved that they showed in the previews, in the last time on Outlander or whatever it's called, her and Jamie from, was that 2 seasons ago? Like when she tells Jamie, when they get into it about Bonnet. Anyway, yeah, she was really amazing, but I kind of feel like, and I didn't think of this until you were just going off on it, which you have every right to. I wonder what Sophie would have been like with that Stephen Bonnet. Because to me, that Stephen Bonnet is actually more intricate and more
interesting,
tougher to crack that nut. Whereas this one was kind of, dare I say, like typical, like the typical sociopath that they see him.
Yes.
That Bonnet was a different guy, and he really played with your emotions as the audience, because you were like, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know where to put this.
Right. How do I feel about this guy? Like what? And I will say this: the whole discussion about fate with the two of them was very, very like that. I bought like that's because there is in the books and in the show. Attraction is not the right word. There's not an attraction there, but there's a connection there, and the connection. All I can come up with is fate. And that's pretty much what their conclusion was as well. And it sort of explains the ending, but we'll get to the ending because I have a big problem with that. It explains kind of what ends up happening, and it explains the choices that they make, because for better or worse, there is a connection. These two people in the universe are connected.
Right.
For better or worse. Okay?
Right.
Okay. All right, let's keep going here. So Claire wakes up. Bree's gone. Her shoes and jacket are there. And then they cut to the island. Bree wakes up and they're on his island, on Stephen Bonnet's island. He's pouring some tea. He becomes like you know what? It just hit me now. He becomes like friggin' Geelus, like crazy as a loon. And Stephen Bonnet is not crazy. God damn it, he's not crazy. He's not. If you see me
looking down, I'm looking up the blog because I'm looking up Stephen Bonnet's stuff. So keep talking.
Okay. So he's all like, do you want some tea? And he pulls out this chest. He opens up and it's got full of toys for our son. And Bree's like, he's not our son. And and Bonnet's like, sure he is. You just have to tell your husband different, and whatever. It's all good. And then he's like, I want to do right by you and him. And I want to be a real father. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what? I'm like that poltergeist girl. And Bree, Bree's look on her face mirrored my look on my face throughout this entire section, which was like, huh? What?
Like what?
What? And I'm thinking to myself, no, there's got to be an ulterior motive here. He's like playing her. He's playing her. Come on. Yeah. No. And Bonnet is a present for Bree too. And I wrote down, hopefully it's something fucked up so that we know that the real Bonnet is still there somewhere. But no. So meanwhile, Claire finds the men. They've got Bonnet has Bree. Whatever. Okay, back to the island. So Bree walks in to the dining room in a beautiful new dress, a la in Beauty and the Beast. It's pretty much it's Beauty and the Beast. Like when the Beast gives her a pretty dress to wear. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark, where that archaeologist dude gives Karen Allen the pretty dress to wear.
Beautiful. I would very much like to see you in it. A better one.
And pretty much every movie ever. So Bonnet has prepared this beautiful table with beautiful food and beautiful utensils and plates, and then he breaks in to be our guest.
And now we invite you to relax, just pull up a chair, as the dining room proudly presents your dinner.
And
Be our guest. Yeah. Yeah, so weird. So
and I'm
strange.
just like, and then he's like, well, when we're living at River Run, we'll have servants to do all this, so they'll be better. They'll be better than this. And I'm like, that's when I was like, oh, like Jimmy, are you gonna hire him right out from under like the Crowley's nose?
Something like that. You've got to be able to get hold of them.
And he's like, I'm writing down all this stuff. Should I pass this with both hands? Will you teach me? And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Sorry for all the swearing, you guys, but like, I just was like, I don't understand this anymore. And because I really thought still that there's like something underlying here, and I get how he wants Jemmy, and he wants, his motivation is to own, for lack of a better word, this kid, because he wants River Run and he wants all that wealth. But this is going far beyond that. This is like, he doesn't need to do all this shit. So this is going into some effed up territory here. Yeah. And then he's like, well, what I need is something money can't buy. And he's like, a moral compass? Like, throws his joke in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, now Bree is Shecky Green in the midst of all this. And I also wrote down, Bree's face is looking a lot like mine right now, which is like, Bree would have this look like. Yeah, and Bonnet keeps, like vomiting up, you saw something in me. We're drawn to each other. Fate has drawn us together to be parents of Jeremiah. And at this point, where Bree starts playing along with it, I was totally like, okay, do you remember this episode of Lost on the Prairie where Laura's friend dies and the mother of the friend kidnaps Laura and pretends that Laura is the daughter, and Laura has to like go along with it? So say the daughter is like Susie. So the mother would be like, oh, Susie, why don't you set the table for dinner? And Laura would be like, okay, Ma. And like, I don't remember, like, I'm sure Pa, like, eventually when Mr. Edwards showed up to rescue Laura. But
Michael
that's what
Landon.
this was.
I was
That's what
born
this
in
was.
the wrong decade. Dear God, Michael Landon. He was the perfect man.
He was, oh my God.
Mother of God. Michael Landon is like in there, like categorized with my Kyle Chandler obsession. Like just the dad, and the gorgeous dad who's got a heart of gold.
If you took Poldark and Jamie Fraser and put them together.
Oh, Mother of God. Michael Landon was just, there'll never be another Michael Landon. Lord of mercy.
I know.
But wait. I just want to make sure I mention something in the part where I don't.
I have to fill
No,
this
I have to talk to you about it. So now, you guys, let's just talk about Michael Landon. All right, you guys, see what Tracy's wearing? I was like, I'm sorry. Are you kidding me? I love that sweater, that pretty Fair Isle. But like, if I wore that for like 5 minutes, I would be like, oh my God, let me in the freezer. And she was pointing out the fact that it was freezing today in New Jersey. It was literally like, I don't even know if it hit 50, and it was cloudy, and I just don't know what's going on right now. But she looks pretty in that sweater, so I guess that's the point. God bless you. I was just saying, Tracy, that you look so cute in that sweater, but I don't understand how you can be wearing it, because I would be like, oh my God. Okay. So did you get to the point yet where, and you might shut me down and say, wait, I didn't get there yet. When they were, no, you didn't. We have to get to where they were reading. Then I'm going to mention.
Okay, so they finished dinner and now they're in the bedroom. So Bree's like, well, a lady wouldn't be alone in the room with a gentleman. So I was like, nicely done, Bree. And they keep going on and on. Well, what do men and women of our stature do? And Bree's like, well, you could read to me. And, that was ill-advised because Bonnet's like...
Oh, I was like, oh no, that wasn't my fault.
Bonnet's like... Just like snotty looking. She's like, I can read you!
No!
And because
Wait, what did you just say?
I was like, Bree's like,
You cut out.
I can read you.
Read you. I thought she was going to say, or I could teach you how to read.
Oh, because that would have been even like every other movie that we have not covered in this. Like, okay, do you know your letters, Steven? Okay, now sound it out.
The whale.
Call me ish.
Swallow the sand. Oh. Holy.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Not making fun of anyone learning to read. Just
reading is
laughing
fundamental.
Okay.
Yeah,
just laughing about Bonnet, like the typical, cliche movie that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Bree just loves to read. She loves it. She reads to Jemmy all the time, and then they have
She
the whole
apparently loves to memorize.
Well, no, I mean, okay. So Bonnet's like, then they have this whole like, well, I've heard that there's such a thing as like learn to love someone. We could learn to love, you could learn to love me, and
I thought of Grandma at that point because Grandma went on and told me about learning to love Grandpa because their marriage, our Italian grandparents, their marriage was arranged when my mother was 15 and my grandfather was 23, and they got married. And the only time they ever met was one time in order to introduce, hey, this is who you're going to marry. So my grandmother told me, you learn to love. So that's what I thought it was Grandma when he was saying about learning to love. Yeah.
Okay. I have to just read what I wrote down here. Bonnet. When you told me that there would be something left of me on this earth, I couldn't get over how it made me feel. Will you teach me how to love? And then in all caps, sorry, I can't with this. Will you teach me how to love? And not said in a facetious way or in a elaborate plan to get Jemmy way. This was sincere.
Yeah.
This was sincere, and I was wanting...
Are we to the characters yet about the book and the characters?
Well, we've sort of covered that already, but this is what I'm saying.
No, when she's reading to him and he and they're talking about characters.
Oh, no. Well, we're just about to be there. So Bree picks up a book. Why Stephen Bonnet has this book that he can't read in his house, I don't know, but okay.
And what was
maybe he's just like every anchor and person who's now celebrity who's now zooming from their house and they want to look smarter. So they all have they're all sitting in front of their big shelves of books. Yeah. Oh, did you just get those glasses? Yeah, I got them for school. Did they make me look smarter?
No,
okay.
We can still see your face.
Okay, so she picks up the book and she's like, okay, yeah, here's this story Jemmy really loves. It's about a whale named Moby Dick or whatever. So she starts reading it.
Big fish.
And I did think of that at my first read. I was like, oh my God, did she memorize Moby Dick? This is beyond the pale here. This is just bad. But I
didn't understand that.
But then I was like, again, I haven't read Moby Dick, but I know that Call Me Ishmael is perhaps the most famous first line of a book ever in literature. And she was like, okay, once upon a time there was a ship's captain named Ishmael, or whatever. And I was like, what? And then I realized, because I did a little research and Moby Dick is told in the first person, that she was just kind of making it up as she went along. So I was like, all right, good save. I mean, I could probably do that with Little Women or a book I've read a million times. I could probably, if my life was at stake and I had to tell the story, I could probably make up enough of it that, whatever. So, okay.
People get lost all the time.
So there's just so many gagful things. I don't know where to go with them. She's
all
like,
right.
wait, let me just say, Jemmy really likes this book. My son likes tales of the sea. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Did I vomit in my drink? I'm sorry. It is kind of hilarious that Bree's like just feeding into this fantasy at this point. Like, Bree's probably like, okay, I know my life is in danger, but I gotta see how far I can take this.
I just figured she was stalling until like Jamie and Roger got there. But she's on an island.
So what were you going to say?
Characters and what drives them. Usually it's love, money, revenge. And I kept expecting her to say cat, like Robert Pattinson. When he's talking about what he can hear everybody say in the restaurant.
Money. Sex. Money. Sex. Cat.
That's all I could hear when she was like love, or he was like love, money, revenge. Like, oh God. All right, keep going. Then I have Bree memorize Moby Dick. And then I love Wiley.
Oh my God, you clearly didn't take notes for a while. So
I just, when the spirit moves me, I go, I love Wiley.
This is going to be, I will warn everybody, this is going to be a long video because we're only an hour and 21 minutes and then we still have a lot to talk about. Okay, so I have it all in capital letters. We need to discuss the ruination of the character of Stephen Bonnet. I think we've kind of done that a little bit, or we've done that.
Yeah, keep going, I can hear you.
We've done that for the most part already.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of have belabored with Stephen Bonnet.
Again, you know, and I know, like, for the TV people, like Third Sister Jill, I'm sure will have a very different opinion. I do think that this plot point of, like, you know, I've kidnapped you, you know, the victim needs to play along with it until she can get free is, like, you know, plot number 265 of like the 500 plots that there are in literature or in narrative work.
In Plotville.
Do you remember? Now this is really dating myself, but do you remember a movie called? Oh my God, I don't remember the movie what it's called, but it's with Linda Blair and she gets kidnapped by some guy. And she learns to love the kidnapper.
Yeah, we saw it like 1,000,000 times.
Yeah. There's elements of that too. It's just like this plot is just so done, and it was just. I will say this in the book. Oh, I know what I need to talk about. Oh, okay. No, because we almost missed it. The most important part of this whole thing. So in the book, this isn't really a spoiler. In the book, Bonnet does kidnap Bree. But really not to, you know, like, find love with his son. But really because, like, Forbes has a bigger role in all of this than he does in this show. And he basically kidnaps her to sell her. You know, he doesn't really care about Jemmy. He's just, you know, kidnapped her to, like, sell her with a bunch of other people. So, in the book, so there's a part of it where they're on the boat to Ocracoke.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually not going there yet because they have to pick up, it's a cargo ship, so they have to pick up other cargo elsewhere. And she, you know, she's in his cabin and he's like starting to get undressed or whatever and kind of expects her to. And for reasons which I will leave out because they're a bit of a spoiler, he decides not to sleep with her. And he just happens to have some other, you know, lady on board, you know, pulls her in, sleeps with her, which is what happens later on in the show.
In a creepy way.
In a creepy way. This episode did what I really hate, which is take things out of context, which is what we've talked about a little bit already today. Don't use a scene from the book just because it's in the book if it doesn't work. Yeah. Don't take a scene out of context and use it somewhere else. It happened twice in this episode, and neither one of them worked.
That was so gratuitous I can't even.
No.
No one needed to see that.
But in the book, there was no malice. There was no like, I'll show you who's got a big penis. It was just
Why?
like, oh, I can't
Why?
sleep with you.
Why
All
was
right,
that
I'll sleep with
necessary?
her. Okay, bye.
Okay, why was that necessary?
It wasn't. It was because again, they're taking a scene. They're taking something that happens in the book and using it in a completely different context in the show that makes no sense at all. Or that like just doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's in the book, that happens, but it happens because for whatever reason, Bonnet chooses not to sleep with Bree, but he still wants to sleep with someone. You know, Leroy's got to get his workout. So, okay, you know, hoary lady, come over here. Boom, boom, boom. Bree's still shocked, whatever.
Boom, boom, boom. Let's go back to my room.
So, but anyway... But wait, because this
Can you tell this is boring me at this point?
But then no, because tell me if you remember this. And this is all. Oh, the other thing we forgot is this part. Oh my god, I can't believe we forgot this. This part that we're on now is all from book 6. We've skipped major Bonnet stuff in book 5. Okay.
So I was just, when I said to you a few minutes ago, I'm looking for my Bonnet posts. I'm like, breath of snow and ashes, breath of snow and ashes, breath of snow. This is all, This is all.
Yeah. There's some shit that goes down in book 5 that I won't spoil, just in case you read the books. You know, Bree's pretty much a badass in book 5, and some stuff goes down. But this is all from book 6. Yeah, all this stuff happens in book 6. You have Stephen Bonnet in a whole other book in the series. But anyway, on the boat. So even though Stephen Bonnet chooses not to have sex with Bree, he still wants her to sleep with him. And at one point he has a nightmare.
Right.
And he has a nightmare, and the nightmare is about is a recurring nightmare. He wakes up and he's like really upset and freaked out. Which again, you know, now this is kind of a weird thing for Stephen Bonnet to be. And Bree, in spite of herself, tries to comfort him because he's so upset. But it's a recurring nightmare of drowning. And, you know, he says it's recurring, so he has it a lot, and he's under the sea, and he can't get out, and whatever, and it's really upset. And it's almost like he's her child, you know, she feels maternal to him in the way she would to Jemmy almost, like instinctively. And that story is all a part of this whole, like, you know, my son loves the sea. But you almost miss it because it's in amongst all of this gobbledygook that's going on in the scene. But it's actually a really important part because it explains what happens at the end. Okay. All right. Do you remember any of that from the book?
Yes, and I remember the feeling like the maternal... Like I said, he's not a psycho, and you don't, like, hate him as much as... You're not afraid. There's no fear.
Oh well, I think you're afraid of him, but you're not befuddled by him. You're not like
you hate him and his bad choices and the mean things he does to people. But I don't remember being afraid of Stephen Bonnet.
I think Stephen Bonnet is predictable in the book.
Yeah, he's not a psycho.
He's not like a Sybil psycho with 16 personalities.
Right. He's just a douche who's like super douchey.
Right.
Like I can't.
Right. And Ed Speleers was so good at it last season that it made me really resent this episode and the fact that he had to, like, you know, pull out some of the crap that he had to pull out. And I don't, you know, whatever. It's all good. Okay. So you know, he grabs this book that Bree's been reading, and that was exciting because you were like, oh my god, he's gonna open the book and he's gonna like see that there's pictures of like whatever the hell it was, like building a ship or I don't even remember.
Oh, I know.
I was like, oh my god. But the parallels, you know, I said I grudgingly admire the parallels between the Moby Dick situation and the Bree Bonnet situation. It was there was some nice parallels there. I get that why they chose Moby Dick. It's still a little contrived, but you know, there were definitely parallels. Yeah, it's not believable that Bonnet is this lovable, sensitive dude who's obsessed with Jeremiah, And you missed the important story that Bonnet has nightmares about being swallowed by the sea. That's a very important story, and it's very easily missed.
Well, he mentioned it, but in like 2 seconds.
Right, and it's surrounded by all sorts of other ridiculous crap. So who would know? Okay? So Bonnet wants Bree to show him how to feel. Bree, show me how to feel. It's just like,
oh God!
I was the face palming emoji times 1,000. But Bree comes back and she's like, "No, a lady would say goodnight right about now and go to her bed alone." And he's like, and off. I mean, come on, really, really. Stephen Bonnet is going to be like, "You're right, m'lady.
Well,
off to your chamber."
Listen. This TV Stephen Bonnet was because he had an agenda. He was just keeping her there until the guy that was buying her showed up.
You think that this is all a ploy? I do not. Wait.
I'm sorry. Did you see him when the guy showed up and he was right back to being douchey?
Yeah, no. But there was a different reason why he was douchey. Oh, I think this was 100% legit on his part. 100% legit. 100%.
I do not.
Well,
I did until the guy showed up and he was right back to being him, and I was like, he didn't care about her.
No. I understood why at that point, but let's keep going because we're about to get to it.
Yeah, because if I'm getting tired, everyone watching is getting tired.
No. Okay. So next morning, Bree, Bonnet, and all of a sudden that whore lady from the opening scene is back. Like, she's there.
I loved Whore Lady. I loved her. What was it about Whore Lady that I loved her? I could watch her in every scene. Loved her.
But she's, like, setting the table. Like, I was like, does she work for you now? Like, I thought she was, like, a tavern wench or a whore.
All right,
lady.
Whatever. You need to suspend a little disbelief
I was like, is this part of some dramatic ruse? I don't know. So Bree is she is committed to this performance now. She is fully committed. She's like, so would we live here? Like, and he's like, well, like, we could live here, we could live in Wilmington, and she's like, I really should go fetch Jeremiah, and when Bonnet's like, I'll go with you, I think Bree should have had him come with her, because, like, play along with it, get him to the ridge, bring him along, and Jamie will, like, just kill him right there.
Tracy, it was all a ruse. He wasn't going anywhere, neither was...
I can't believe you're just saying that now, and I don't believe it, because I think at this point he's starting to get suspicious.
Okay, what do you think he's up to?
So... I think.
Why would he have, if he was really falling for her and thinking they were going to have some little Brady Bunch life with Jemmy, why is he's waiting for this guy to show up?
No.
What's he going to do with the guy?
I think that he, up to this point, really thought he was going to have the Brady Bunch life. But she's really pushing hard on the, like, get Jemmy, and I think I should go alone. And he's like, really? And she's like, yeah. And then he says... Okay, well, we'll
But
do
he knows
that.
this guy's on his way.
No. Hold on.
In the 18th century, they had to travel by ship. The guy's ship was out there, and he brought the little dinghy in. He's waiting for this guy. Why do you think...
You think that this whole thing was a ruse? The whole thing?
Yes, he's selling women. He saw Bree in the town and went, oh, I'm going to grab her, take her back to my place, and arrange it, and the guy's going to come and get her.
So wait. Okay, let me just finish my point before we have this discussion.
Okay.
So you're starting to see he's a little on the fence now. But he's like, okay, well, we'll seal it with a kiss.
God,
and so they kiss.
It'll take forever to break this down. Who cares? It was so dumb.
I'm so confused. I can't stand it. All right, wait. So they kiss, but it's very chaste.
Hey, talk faster.
And that is what sets him off. The lesson for Bree is always give Stephen Bonnet tongue.
Oh, God. Look. Yeah, maybe he was... I don't even know. He's a psycho, so maybe he...
That is what set him... Wait. That is what set him off. That is what made him be like... That's what made him realize, like, you're playing me, Bree. F you. I'm done with you. And that is when he sells her to the... And I didn't understand this whole, like... Because later on, they get away... And I'm like, how is Jamie letting these people get away? Like, where are they going? Are they going back to the big ship? Is the big ship Stephen Bonnet's ship? Like, it was all really weird and confusing. I didn't really understand.
Do you think he called the guy on the phone and said, "Come on and gut her. I'm going to sell her to you"?
I don't know how it happened. Maybe he checks in once a week anyway. So you were telling me, wait. We've just spent an hour and a half talking about Stephen Bonnet and how he's gone from being like complex and, you know, normal in the books to a complete psycho in the show. But according to your definition, what you're saying happened, he's actually not being a psycho at all. He's trying to play her until this guy can arrive.
There's some psycho in that, though.
No, it's a performance. What you're saying is that he's a performance. What I'm saying is that he's a psycho. And that he sort of snaps out of it with this kiss moment.
I think that the whole thing was a performance, but there might have been a little truth to his performance. He's by nature. We heard
I don't think so.
In the beginning of the episode, is involved in selling women. It's of a female nature. Okay? He sells women. That's the whole reason he brought Bree to the island, was so that he could sell her to this guy.
To get rid of her?
No. He doesn't care about Bree. He doesn't care about Jemmy. That was all just a bunch of bullshit. Yes, I think there was a little psycho in there, and there was a little truth to it, and maybe for a split second here and there, he was like, could have seen himself, but for the most part, he knows the guy is on his way to come by her.
I 1000% disagree.
Well, I love that. Good. We'll see what everybody has to say.
If for no other reason, then he wants Jocasta's fortune. He wants River Run. He wants Jocasta's fortune. So he does care about Jemmy. That's his motivation right there. That's his motivation.
He wants Jemmy, not her.
Right.
He wants Jemmy.
Right.
He wants to make money off selling her, and he's going to get money. That's where I even said to you, I can't tie it together of how, but maybe it's even he's going to get rid of her completely, and he's Jemmy's father. So there you go. They already said it last week. He's Jemmy's father. So in this time, he's Jemmy's father. He has every right. So now Jemmy is, and the lawyer is going to get rid of Jocasta. It's a done deal. The lawyer, Neil Forbes, is getting rid of Jocasta, which he said to him at some point, I'll take care of that, whatever. And then he is shipping Bree off with this guy and is going to now show up as Jemmy's father. Jocasta's dead. Jemmy owns all of this. And he is Jemmy's father. End of story.
Did we watch the same show? Like, okay.
And he sent his goons to go meet with Jamie. Does he know that he's meeting with Roger and Jamie?
No.
He just knows he's meeting with
Alexander Malcolm. About a whiskey proposition.
How do we know he doesn't know? Maybe he thinks they're all going to be dead too.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to debunk this theory. Forbes didn't go there to kill Jocasta. Forbes went there because Jocasta wanted a meeting with him. He didn't know what that was about.
Did Forbes, or did he not say, I'll take care of that? Of Jocasta?
He would probably talk her into whatever. But no, he didn't go there to kill Jocasta. Gerald Forbes is not going to kill somebody. Gerald Forbes killed...
Did he or did he not say, I'll take care of it?
I don't remember him saying, I'll take care of it. And I don't remember... And if he did, I don't remember what it was about. But, no. He went there because Jocasta asked to meet with him. So he didn't know what the meeting was about. But as soon as he started hearing that the meeting was about giving her money away, he was like, what? And then as soon as she started saying, like, and I'm giving, the servant Lizzie 25 pounds, which amounted to, like, a lot of money. I forget. I was starting to, like, that's because that's coming up later.
That was
100 pounds.
His reaction. The
servant girl? The servant girl? All right. Let's, okay. We're going to agree to disagree here. I think Stephen Bonnet, if this was a big elaborate ruse to buy time until the lady slave buyer guy came to buy Brie, then it went over my head. Now
then how is the lady slave buyer in his ship?
I don't know, because it was all really confusing to me. I don't know.
Buyer right on over there, he would have just taken the damn dinghy from over there. He had a ship out in the water. He had to get there. It was prearranged.
That's the ship that they came on. That's like the anemone. In the book, it is anyway. That's the ship they came on. That ship that stays docked out there, and they, have a little dinghy or whatever that brings them to the island. That's his ship.
Then why was this guy heading right on back?
I don't know, and that's why that was really confusing. I need to watch that last part again, because somebody gets killed. I don't remember who it is, and then other people escape, and then again, it was all very unclear who these people were. But I don't think that this route was some sort of ruse that, Brie thought she was playing Stephen Bonnet, but really Stephen Bonnet was playing Brie. I don't buy it. I feel like Stephen Bonnet, had some weird, un-Stephen Bonnet, need for love and changing his ways, and really thought that Brianna, was really, buying what Brianna was selling, and which again was, against his character, which is what made me pissed off. But started to get suspicious and wanted her to kiss him just to, read the room and make sure that, the passion was there, that the feelings were there. He clearly, realized that they were not, and that's when he was like, screw you, and turned into, a real sadist again, and, I'll show you what, a really, a real Leia is, whatever, and, brings in Whore Lady, they do it, and again, that happens, I explained where that comes from, whatever. Oh yeah, and that's at some point he starts talking, he says something about you're just like all the rest of them. Some people tried to bury me when I was had some construction job or something like that. And again, that little sentence is a story that he tells Roger when Roger basically is bargaining for his life on the ship from Scotland to America in the previous book. And it's very meaningful in that context, but in this context, it just makes Stephen Bonnet sound like even more of a psycho. Of everyone was mean to me when I was younger, and that's why I am the way I am. Yeah, oh my god, we've never disagreed so much about something
I just don't think he has it in him to give a rat's ass, even in his psycho ways.
I don't think he does either, which is why...
You're still not explaining to me when the transaction happened with the guy who came to buy Brie.
It's not important in the show. It's not important. That's my attitude. That, it's you just have to suspend disbelief. That they just got... This guy just happened to be there. Maybe he was selling some other people. I don't know. All right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I do know that this video is very, very long.
It's super long. It's super sized. But again, and I've said it before,
Oh.
what else do you have to do, people? Nothing. You should be thanking us for entertaining you during Corona Apocalypse.
Oh my God, don't talk to them like that.
Well, we're entertainment. Like we are.
You should be thanking us.
And we're free, unlike Netflix.
And we should be thanking them for listening to us for this long.
Okay. So wait, all right. So you guys can tell us in the comments what you thought. We would really like to know, and maybe you can like solve this.
I make it clear that I'm not. He's not a psycho, and I'm not saying there weren't, like moments when he was like maybe into Brie or thought he was thinking the right thing or whatever. But I just feel like this was all arranged. This is what he does: sells women.
If that was all a ruse to stall for time, I would say Bonnet hasn't changed at all, and he's exactly the same from the book, and that's a brilliant ruse. But I don't think it was. I think it was just way out of character, and whatever. So all right. So
I think his character is a guy who'll do anything, and he's totally shrewd, and he doesn't give a shit about anyone.
I don't. He didn't need to do it. I mean, you know what? You know how else he could have like stalled for time? Locked her in a room like he did in the book.
Yeah, I feel like he was playing with her.
But why?
Or maybe he was getting information from her about Jem.
So that he knows that Jem likes stories. So like he knows he better learn to read now.
He was playing with her.
Illiteracy has never been really that big of a pain in the ass before, but now I gotta learn.
Playing with her.
I think it's too much trouble. I really don't. I don't agree. All right. So he goes to get money for Horror Lady. Horror Lady like talks to Bree. Bree's like, "Here, take my piece of shit wedding ring." In the books, because I read this too. In the book, I think it's Jamie's ruby ring that she offers him, so it has some value. But in the show, it's like, "Here, take this piece of shit." Silver ring or pewter or whatever the hell it's made of. And she's like, whatever. So then we're back to Wilmington, where your favorite scene, where Jamie and Roger are beating up on your boyfriend Philip Wiley, and he's like, no, I'll tell you everything, I swear. I
thought Jamie was a little like cavalier. Like I think I have that written down. Jamie doesn't seem too concerned. There's no sense of urgency in getting Bree back. Jamie's like sitting there training Roger. Like, all right, ask him another thing. Yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, isn't your daughter kidnapped by the most horrific man in the world?
I forgot. I forgot because I thought you would have laughed when Bonnet leaves to get the money and Bree's talking to the horror lady. She's like, you need to be careful about Bonnet. He takes what he wants.
Takes what it wants.
Honey badger don't give a shit. It just takes what it wants.
So the theme about it is the honey badger. Takes what he wants. Okay. So they get the information out of Wiley that they can go to this brothel where that Stephen Bonnet frequents, and they might be able to sell him stuff. So Jamie and Claire will go to the brothel. Now we get to River Run, and Forbes arrives. And it's that scene with Duncan and Ulysses and Jocasta is hilarious because you can tell Duncan is getting on Jocasta's last nerve. Like Duncan's like, "Oh, Ulysses, like, prepare some cakes for our guests," and Jocasta's like, "No, Ulysses, we don't need cakes. This is not a social occasion." And Ulysses is like, "Yes, sir. No, oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm so confused." She doesn't know what to do. She's like, "Mommy and Daddy are fighting and I don't know what to do." Okay. So, Jocasta tells Forbes she wants to bestow some gifts on her family because they don't.
And at this point, I'm like, I don't know why Jocasta, like, is Jocasta that dumb that she trusts this guy? Like, I always felt like Jocasta was such a shark, and she she just knows. She can't see, but she knows. She can hear it in their voice. She's just so smart. this guy is just like, ugh.
So to me,
She's like, I want to give this one this. I want to give this one this. And I'm thinking to myself, is she playing him? Like, what's going on right now?
Yes. And I didn't understand
weird.
exactly why. It was weird. It was very weird. I didn't understand why. Like, clearly, to me anyway, she was playing him. Because she'd just be like, oh, I think I'm going to give,
why?
the new baby. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, like, did she know something about, did she have something on him? Like, did she, I don't understand. It made no sense to me either. But just, I felt like, yes, she was playing him. And it was really funny, like, so she was going to give, I was a little confused too by like, so Jemmy's getting the entire fortune, right? Not
Keep
just
talking, I can hear you.
Not just the house, but the entire fortune. So and Forbes is like, did you check with Duncan? Check with Duncan? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. Well, wouldn't she need to check with like Roger as, the guardian of the real heir to all this shit?
Right.
That's what I thought, but I don't know. So Forbes isn't happy, whatever. All right, so we go to the brothel. I thought it was a little weird that Jamie let Claire take the lead on all of this and just kind of like hung out in the background, because I would think that the man would probably want to get more information out of the brothel.
Jamie was like, hey, don't I know you? Were you back in Scotland? Were you in France?
But she, so she asked the questions and she's like, we're looking for someone named Stephen Bonnet. And they're all like, dun, dun, dun. All right, we're back to River Run. So Jocasta's like throwing out her money like Oprah. Okay? She's like, you get £100. And you get £100. And you get £100. But she's like, and 20 for luck. Just, whatever. It was so funny. She gives £1,000 to Brie and Roger, 25 pounds to Lizzie, and that just sends Forbes over the edge. And he tries to kill Jocasta, which was kind of ridiculous.
It reminded me of Mommy Dearest when they get into the fight, and Faye Dunaway is like strangling the girl, and then the girl who plays Carol, her assistant, comes running over. And it's like, stop. And she's like,
Okay, so we're robbed of a scene that I'm not going to say because I would have a spoiler alert, but I don't think we're going to get that far because we're both going to be asleep and this video is going to be way too long. But we are robbed of a really great scene because of this with Forbes. Because as I said, Forbes was way more involved in the books about with this Bree kidnapping business. So Jamie and Roger and Ian obviously like talk to Forbes, probably instead of Wiley. And some shit goes down that we will never see, and it's a shame. But this scene was just dumb. I mean, I just didn't get it. Like, really, Forbes? You really think you're gonna like murder the mistress? Like, okay, great. But we did get to see Ulysses be the biggest badass ever of this whole episode, if not the whole season, and like pull Forbes up like in this death grip that clearly Forbes didn't take your safety class because he didn't know to like turn this way.
And all you saw was legs.
Yeah, he didn't know to turn and like, elbow Ulysses. So Ulysses like just takes care of him, and then he's like clearly really upset, like, Mistress Jocasta, and she is alive, which is good. But that's just a scene I'm just like, they had to get rid of Forbes, and that's the best they could do, really. Oh, okay, God. Whatever.
I think they were just as tired as we are right now.
Moving on. I'm not tired, actually. I'm not a good guy.
I'm very tired, and I'm like, I think everyone's done with this.
No, they're going to say more. Okay.
We need to talk about every detail.
Okay. So we're back at the brothel. So Claire is diagnosed as the horror lady's, one leg shorter than the other one, and you get a cobbler to like help you, get a new heel and you'll be good as new.
Right.
So she spills the tea on what you're gonna need a boat. You're gonna need a boat to go there.
And I have daughter is kidnapped by the most evil killer on the face of the earth, and she stops to do an adjustment on a prostitute, and then 5 seconds later I have, oh, Claire, you even fooled me. Yeah, that was great. That was great.
What, when Claire diagnosed her?
Yeah, because Claire was clearly, not clearly to me, up to something. Claire saw it in her right away when she said, nope, never heard of him, walked away. She was like, mm-hmm. And that's when Claire was like, I'm going to give her some knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I liked how she was like,
help me out.
Here's some money. I'm not even going to ask for anything from you because people should just help people when they can. And she's like, oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so we're back on Ocracoke. So this is where, if you go with my theory, the guy just sort of shows up. If you go with Carol's theory, this has been the plan all along. But Bonnet has some plans for Bree. He's called in the partner who sells the ladies. The guy checks her out. Bree bites him, which is smart, but not really. So Bonnet's going to sell her for £6.
You saw it coming like 5 minutes before she did it.
£6 is about $1,000. So I don't know. I didn't think it was like that great of an amount. Whatever. So okay, they're bringing her to the beach.
Didn't you think that Bonnet sort of like, I don't know, like I felt like Bonnet was sort of like, yeah, all right, £6. You know what I mean? Like Bonnet didn't even push for more.
I think at this point he just wants to get rid of her.
I thought it said something that he looked like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, she's been effing my life up too much, and now she really doesn't like me anymore, so, like, screw her. Whatever.
In his creepy, like, Madonna complex, like, whatever.
So they're dragging her down the beach. The transaction is about to go down, but no, it does not, because the gang is here. And, somebody shoots somebody. Again, like, there's I couldn't tell, like, who was the lady buyer, who was the lackeys, who was this person, who was that person, but somebody gets shot. Again,
well,
Ian's,
Fred and Daphne came along, and Velma.
And they would have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for you kids.
Weren't for you meddling kids.
I was sad because, again, like I said, you have Ian with your typical rifle, but I wanted Ian to just, like, take his hatchet and go...
Yeah, let's hope we see some of that next week.
Because that is one good thing. Ian comes back from the Mohawk, and you can take the boy out of the Mohawk, but you can't take the Mohawk out of the boy. And he just does some stuff that's like just badass Mohawk badassness.
I love. He was like, "What about my mark?" Was he the one who said, "What about my markings?"
Yeah, that's when Claire was like, "Oh,
and
I
was
have
just
the Brown
like,
Foundation that'll clear that right up."
Markings? Oh, those dots. Like in the book, like it was just like. All right, keep going.
So where am I? Oh, yeah. All right. So Roger beats Bonnet up. They let those guys go. I was just like, Jamie Fraser never let somebody go ever.
Yeah, they don't care about them. They're like a dime a dozen.
I guess.
There's always creepy dudes waiting to come along and buy some young girl. Ew.
Okay. So basically it's up to Bree what happens to Bonnet because, she's the one that requires restitution.
My God.
What?
To go to Wilmington and let the law handle it. I was like, are you kidding me?
But that happens in the book. That's
God.
what she says in the book.
I just was like, let Da beat the crap. Let Roger beat the crap out of him. Let Da or Ian just like you said, whatever. Done. My God.
No, that happens in the book.
What if they say nope, not guilty in Wilmington? Then what's she gonna do?
They made that point though. They said, "All right, this is where we call in the favor from Tryon."
I don't know.
No, that made sense to me. Tryon owes them a big fat one, and this is where they're going to call it in because they make that point. They're like, "What if he's now not guilty?" And Jamie's like, "Yeah, Tryon owes us a big fat one, and even from New York, he'll make sure that this goes down." So,
or just kill him and let's go home.
Whatever. So he gets sentenced to death by drowning. He's lashed onto a pole. He's obviously freaking out a little bit. The day goes on, the tide gets higher. I didn't really notice this until the second watching. But you see him and the water's up to like here, and he's kind of panicking. Then he sees something, and his face kind of just gets a little calmer a bit. And then, boom. Shot right here. And you see it's Bree on shore. The rifle. And Roger's there, and he says, "Was that mercy, or was that to make sure he's dead?" And Bree doesn't answer.
And she's like, around. "F off, Roger. I'm going home."
And that's the end.
Am I correct that in the book he was buried and it was just his head?
Buried
because that's how I read it.
By dirt?
I read it as him being like buried in the sand.
No.
Isn't that funny?
Okay.
What I read it is that if it said he was on the pole, then I just forgot and made up my own little.
No. This is actually I'm gonna
his head in the sand and crabs running around. I would have loved that.
Oh my god!
But I couldn't remember because I was watching and I was like,
"Oh my god!"
It's not like them to veer from the story that much, so I must have rewritten. I will tell you, I do that sometimes. If I don't like the way they do it, I sort of rewrite it in my head.
See, it's so funny because I actually really, really loved this part of the book. And I was very disappointed with, on my second watch, I was a little less disappointed, but, and I know it's really late, but I do want to, just say how they do it in the book. It also, it's death by drowning. He thinks he's out I think they have him out farther. And basically what happens is that Jamie and Bree made some arrangement with him. I don't remember what the arrangement was or what Jamie and Bree get out of it, but they get something. But the arrangement is that they will kill him before the water does. Because again,
you don't hate him the way
right. Because Bree makes this arrangement because there is this connection, for better or worse, between the two of them. There is this connection, okay? And because we know how he has had all these nightmares about drowning and death by the sea. So Roger rows her out because you have to row, he's far enough out in the water. And they have to be sort of surreptitious about it because, it's sort of frowned upon to do this. And they get there, and the tide's pretty high at that point, and he says something along the lines of, what took you so long? I didn't think you were going to get here. And I don't know what she says, but then, she ends up, her final words to him are, "Go with God, Stephen." Boom. Shoots him. And I was really disappointed that aspect of it was not in.
Oh. That's because he's such a psycho in the show.
I know. But that part of it really stayed with me. When I could just see it. I'm not a visual reader. I normally don't visualize stuff as it's happening. I'm not the kind of person that's like, "Oh, I totally saw this person and that person as this person and this person, this actor," and then I don't really do that. But I could see this scene happening in my head. And I could see Roger rowing and sort of staying out of the way. And Bree and Stephen Bonnet having this final conversation. and I don't remember what I mean. I could probably find it, but I don't remember what he says. But her words to him are, "Go with God, Stephen." Boom, and she kills him. And like to have Raj be like, was that mercy or is that just like, making sure the deed was done, and her not answering her, like that kind of changes her character a little bit to me. I don't know. I found that disappointed. I didn't like it. I really liked the way they did it. I know, like, the book is the book and the show is the show. But, sorry, I like the book. I like the book treatment much better because, again, it acknowledges what we've built up in a whole episode to say, which is, for better or worse, as we've been saying, there is a connection and there is a fate. Fate brings them together. So, having Bree acknowledge that, for better or worse, you've been a horrible person, but in this final moment, I'm giving you this final moment. May it bring you some peace.
I appreciate the fact that you've put so much thought into that, but I'm like, hey, whatever. Bye, Stephen Bonnet. You suck.
You really didn't remember that part at all? I thought that
Tracy,
part was...
I don't remember so much, and I only reread. I don't think I reread. I think I reread Voyager. I did reread Voyager. I don't think I'm not a big rereader. I like the element of surprise.
But the thing is, too, like, you would probably pull out something like, "Oh, you don't remember this, Tracy?" And I'd be like, "No," but for whatever reason, it stuck in your craw. And This was something that stuck in my craw. That I found Stephen Bonnet to be a fascinating character. I found the connection between Bree and Stephen Bonnet to be interesting. And I thought that this really gave that relationship closure. Whereas Bree, and can we just talk about like how now they're really regretting not taking Bree on the buffalo hunting trip, because my God, like, she shot him like, bullseye at whatever it was, 100 yards. I mean, like, crazy.
That's because she's Bree, and I sort of need a spoiler alert too, because I have something in my head.
I have shit tons to say if we do a spoiler alert. Should we like wrap this up then, and then do a spoiler alert at the
wrap
end?
it up, baby.
So you guys, it's been a crappy night, but like it's been less crappy because we've had the chance to talk to you guys through this little video and debate this episode of Outlander. And I'd love to hear, we both love to hear what you guys think in the comments of the YouTube video and the blog / the website, and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Not one of my favorites, but it had its moments. I thought Sophie was really great. Sophie's getting the prize for, like, utility player this season. I think she's really, really, really stepped up her game, and I don't even think stepped up her game. Like, just she wears the suit really well now. Like, it's taken her a little while to get it to fit, but she's doing good. She's doing good. And
she was great in this episode.
Ed Spiliers.
Low golf clap. Bye.
Oh, you can't tell me you're not gonna. Oh, come on, Carol. No more Stephen Bonnet. He hasn't been really that hot this season, though, because he hasn't been Stephen Bonnet this season. So there you go.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't like him from episode 1 where he cut the guy's eye out or whatever.
Yeah, this season.
Like,
this season has just not been the same. So.
I was like, ew.
Yeah.
Like, you're always like, ooh, Bonnet, and I'm like, not on this show. I'm not.
No, in season 4 I was. In season 4 I was, but season 5 really has not been. I have not. It's not been the same relationship. I've been over or on a break.
Take me back to Downton.
So tell us what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we always forget to say at the beginning of the video. I guess that's it. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on subscribe. And we will see you next week for the penultimate episode of season 5, written by Diana Gabaldon.
What do we have? 2 left?
2 left. Carol, this episode would have been the one that would have been our first live show. We were planning a live show in Scotland.
out how to do it live.
Oh my God. And this would have been a good
have
one
to do
too.
it. We were going to do it the next night. Like we were figuring we probably couldn't do it while it aired.
Well, we would have to watch it in the UK, which is on Monday nights. So we would have had to watch it, and we would have had a ball because we had there's a lot to make fun of this episode.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
As we're over 2 hours now. All right, we're gonna do a really quick spoiler.
All right, really quick.
But we will if you're so jump off if you don't want to be spoiled. Stay on.
All right,
if you
bye
do,
guys.
And we'll see all of the rest of you who are jumping off next week. Okay, go.
Excuse me, spoiler alert.
I have a bunch of things to say.
I forget. What were we talking about when I said that I had a spoiler? Oh, because someone mentioned it recently. Someone recently mentioned it in the comments about shit. What were we talking about?
Can I tell you one big spoiler that maybe it'll jog your memory? I don't know how they're going to... It's on Ocracoke and Rescuing Bree where they realize, oh my God, there's another portal. On Ocracoke. They find it. Because I believe that is where... When Jemmy and Roger, when Roger and Bree and the kids go back next season, that's where they go through Ocracoke. They have not yet found it, so I don't know how the hell they're going to pull that off. But I guess they're going to have to.
I forgot all about that. Have to put it somewhere.
I guess.
But that's not.
The other spoil. I mean, I couldn't really talk about it in the video, but Stephen Bonnet didn't want to sleep with Bree because she was pregnant. In books, in the books.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were going to say?
No, totally left my head. But it was something that someone commented on the spoiler and said, by this point, hasn't blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, yeah. It depends on what we were just, what were you just saying?
With Bree killing Bonnet? Any of the Bonnet stuff in the end of season 5, like when Bree shoots him?
Yes. When did Roger recite Frank's letter? Remember the letter?
Oh my God, yes. Yes. Is it to Jamie that he recites it? I think that's at the gathering.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Welcome to my life.
I think that's at the gathering.
So that's how we know that. Have we even covered in the show why Bree is so good? It's because Frank took her out, saw the future, figured things out, and knew she might very well be going, and she better know how to shoot, because he knew that the 18th century was going to be a rough place to live. So Frank would take her out and taught her how to shoot. So she's a sharpshooter because Frank taught her how.
Right. I don't think we really. Maybe she said that in passing.
Well, and I'm so sorry, you guys. And that this is like exercise induced. This is my exercise. No. And I'm also texting my own wee Ian and telling him bedtime. See, they take advantage, Tracy, when I'm doing this. So they have school tomorrow, and guess who's still wide awake, I'm sure. But he took a shower without being asked today and emptied the dishwasher yesterday without being asked and took the garbage out. Oh, she got to take the garbage out.
All right.
Anyway, so that's, you guys, is what I'm thinking, is that how do we know any of that? How do we know why Bree is such a great sharpshooter? How do we know that are we ever going to even touch on that Frank knew that they were going to go back? Don't you remember when I was blogging? I was always like, oh my God. I was like, I just want Frank to show up in the past, because I was like, he knew. So when he went, I wanted Frank to be a traveler, because I was like, yeah, so he would just show up like now, and Claire would be like, what are you doing here? And he'd be like, remember that time I went to that symposium on on whatever? Yeah, when I was gone for 2 weeks, actually I traveled back right now. You and I used to have some major time travel conversations when we were doing this, when we were reading the books and videos. So it was like around that time. But I do want to know, like, what else was in that letter?
I don't know. I just remember it was like 17 pages long, and Roger had memorized the whole thing.
And Roger the entire thing, just like Bree memorized.
It was like, which is longer, that letter or Moby Jack?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, you guys. Anything else, Tracy?
Bree pregnant. Where are they going to find out about the time travel? Like where the portal is? I thought there was something else. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, in some ways they did a good job of streamlining a lot of the stuff that happens in this episode or in this part of the book.
I get that. But we should have said that before everybody left too. Like, well,
hopefully everybody's still here. Like, hopefully you're all still here. Yeah, I mean they did. There's like a ton of little, like, you know, little plotlets that they had to get rid of them, and they did a good job. But I don't like the treatment of Stephen Bonnet. I just don't. Okay. Guys, for whoever stayed, again, subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for making our life a little brighter, even though, you know, we're not in Scotland right now, but we are with you guys, and that means a lot.
Thank you, guys, for making the nighttime brighter.
Guys, for making the nighttime Guys, for making it better world for me.
Corona apocalypse for me. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you for sitting through this huge video and still staying with us for the spoilers.
Bye.
Bye.